Hello everyone, it's Janet here with another design team project for the Wild Bunch and Wild Orchid Crafts. I made a gift for Amy at My Teddy Boo. I wanted to give her a thank you gift for her wonderful package that she had sent me. And I had this little box, it was a wood box, just finished like that underneath there. And my husband had received a pocket knife as a gift in it, and I thought, oh, don't get rid of that box. It was so pretty. I wanted to be able to decorate it. So I painted it with a cocoa brown, and then I went over it with, I had some Annie Sloan chalk paint in Versailles. That's this green color. So I went over it with that. So it's kind of a different finish, but I really like it. And then I went over some of the clear wax that Annie Sloan also has. So I used that, and I used the Tea Time collection. This will probably be the last project for a while, but I've really had fun using that collection. I love all the colors. So I have a piece of the paper that I used matte medium on, and I also used Tim Holtz frayed burlap for the distressing on all of it, and I even used some on the edges of the box. And for the top of the box, on my flower cluster over here, I actually have one on top of another of this Organza rose trim in the large, in the taupe. It looks like this. I have two of them so that it would be the right height. And that product number is 0Z00005. So I have that there. And then I have some small curly wild roses, FM00319. That's these right here, right there. And then I also, over here, have a deep ivory small gardenia flower, FS00104. Have that right here. And then I have some of the deep cream hip rosebuds here. And I have a pink rose curly wild rose here, and I will put the links for those down below. And then these were white, and they do sell them in green. It's just that the green was a little bit different color than I wanted, so I used the deep ivory baby's breath flowers, WD00009, and I just sprayed them with a little bit of olive vine and then wiped it off so that I would get the lighter green look that went with my box. And then I have one over here as well. Also used some of the seam binding that Wild Orchid Craft sells, and I just had dyed it with the vintage pink and tea like I showed in my last video. And right here I have a vintage earring, and underneath it I built it up with a couple of buttons so that you could use it to pull the box open. And then I used my technique of putting Amy's name on some muslin and draping it along there. There's more of the seam binding coming out here. And some of the natural cotton lace, which is LA00003. It's pretty coming along here. And for here, and then also as the feet of my box, see that, what I did is I took one of these mixed color medium pearl brads, BR00002, and so I took one of those, and then one of the flower shaped metal bead caps, JW00030. They look like that. So I just put them together like this. Put the brad right through the hole, and then I just closed the brad, and then I just took my wire snippers and snipped off this part of the brad. So it made a real pretty flower, and I think it would also be pretty if you layered even one of the wild orchid flowers underneath it or used it as a center. Very pretty. So that's what I used for the feet, and then also for this corner piece here. And I thought this would be a lovely box to hold a charm, but it's kind of a mix between a charm and a tassel. So I used a Tim Holtz one of these pieces here. And then I used a combination of the seam binding and the crocheted lace. I have, let's see, I'll put the link below to this crocheted ribbon. I ran out of it, so I used all of it. But I'll put the link below for this cotton lace here. And then I used a bunch of the seam binding. And I used, Wild Orchid Crafts sells a bunch of charms now. So this is the butterfly charm right here. And that is JW00010. That's the antique bronze butterfly. And then I also used some of the bead caps along with beads. And I just used some different beads and charms from the collection here. And it worked out really great. Like I would tie the seam binding onto the charm, and then I kind of just wanted to disguise where it was, so I just added a little glue and some of the pink tone roses, 3/8 inch, these here, EX00014, just to kind of finish it off, and that also it would keep it, help it to stay. So just have a bunch of different pieces. Did the same here. I glued on this one, I glued one of the white crochet flowers, CHT001, right on this side, and on this side I put another one of those small little roses. And this is a heart charm from the mixed heart charm pack, this one here. It's JW00022. And more beads. And Amy, when you get this, you'll probably want to fluff it up, because I have, in order to get it in the box, I'm going to have to separate it all up. But just a real mixture. I just love the way the trims and the seam binding. You could really do it with any ribbons or trims and just add the charm to it. I just really like how it came out. Just wrapped around the top some silk embroidery ribbon that I had. So that is pretty much lots of different bead caps. I used several different bead caps. I used the flower shaped ones, JW00025, and I also used some of the flower shaped metal bead caps, JW00029, in all of these pieces. I used a button here and some more. So that is my tassel charm. I hope Amy likes it. I really appreciated the nice gift that she sent me, and I really enjoy using all of my Wild Orchid Craft goodies. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!